We're ready to go on item 1.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Okay, so this is a conditional use permit in sign architectural review to allow reconstruction and intensification of an existing shell service station. So as a reminder, the scope here is a bit more limited than the overall planning commission, so we won't go into the language appropriateness of the proposal or consistency with policies that are not generally design related. That'll be about a month. So the project site is along Hamilton Avenue at the intersection with Salmar, surrounded by the Staples property immediately south of Hamilton, and currently developed with a Shell station. The proposal would allow reconstruction of the site for a Shell station. It would allow for an expanded convenience store market that would be located at the corner of Hamilton and Hamilton. I guess technically 8 vehicle serving canopy for the fueling station here behind the convenience store, and then a drive-through car wash tunnel at the rear of the property. Here we have the design elevations. This is showing the convenience store seen from the interior of the site, and then this is the car wash tunnel, the north elevation, also seen from the interior. So as noted in your SARC memo, the big issue here really has to do with the current general plan's policy on gateways. So the general plan identifies certain key entries into the city as gateways and establishes policies that are really intended to create iconic buildings that really delineate your entry into capital. So that's what's also discussed in the 2021 study session regarding this application. Staff does not believe that this design or any design for a gas station can be made to comply with these policies. Policies are intended to create a design expectation of a very high bar that a convenience market simply cannot achieve. Particularly because of the prominent location of the site. This is going right into the Hamilton Avenue exit into the city. And of course, it takes you further in downtown. There are multiple opportunity sites here for new development under the new general plan and the housing element. And this site in particular is right at the driver's sight line that emphasizes the need for gateway level design. Moreover, the general plan also has policy language in terms of buildings that frame the intersections and that actually speak to the street. The general plan, even though it is 20 years old, was fairly progressive for its time, very much emphasizing the need to create pedestrian-oriented buildings. This particular building, however, does not achieve that. Effectively, the back of the building would face Hamilton Avenue. You have floor plan here that shows this wall here up against Hamilton Avenue here. You basically just have the whole back of the convenience store building with really no windows and just an exit door and some service hatches. Even though at the corner you do have this glass element, the floor plan shows the corner basically being a storage area. So you're going to have an entire dead wall along that edge, which again reinforces the need for a different type of development for the site.
So what is Hamilton Avenue?
We're looking at Hamilton Avenue is right here.
Hamilton Avenue is right left.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Sillamore is
straight through. Right.
This is from kind of the exit.
So
from the exit.
correct. So this feature here is intended to try to connect at the corner, but really what we're looking at is just going to be dead space storage.
I'm sorry, I was asking about the view on the upper left.
Yes.
Where's Hamilton Avenue on the upper left?
Right here.
Is right. Okay, and then Sillamore on the upper left
That might be right here.
is right.
And then lastly, though not as significant as the overall building orientation or its intended use, it's just in terms of good design. The general plan also speaks to ensuring high quality materials, and here, while we have a building that does appear to be clad in brick, in reality, this is just going to be a thin brick. It's not going to have the richness of brick that you could see in a downtown building. So ultimately, staff does not feel that this proposal achieves any general plan design oriented policies whatsoever. And because of the inability for the project to even meet the gateway policy, no design suggestions are recommended. And with that, I'll take any questions the SARC may have.
So Campbell has quite a few entry locations. I saw a map that showed a few of them, but that's not all of them, correct?
Well, the map, yes, the map shows all of them. Now,
Can we go, I mean, I live near the White Oaks area. And that's shown in the, I guess, the lower right. The wall go up a little bit, right?
Highway
there.
17 and
That's
campus.
perfect. And so on that one, when you come off the freeway, you face U-Haul, right? You know, because it turns and
Yeah.
then it goes, first it goes into White Oaks, then it goes into Camden. So you're facing basically U-Haul, you know, I don't want U-Haul to be a gateway, you know, my city,
Yeah.
but, you know, but that's what it is, right?
so I would offer that under the new general plan, there is policy guidance that very much is intended to refine this, because you're right, at this level, it is very abstract. It's not exactly clear where the particular gateways are relative to the properties that are touching them. The map also doesn't reflect that the city did annex certain areas of the county. So really, this gateway should be over here where the city border is now.
Right.
That being said, I don't think that there's really any question in staff's mind that this particular gateway will remain a gateway.
Of course, yeah. And being a highway exit, it probably generates even more traffic than your normal. Okay.
Yeah, I don't really have, I mean, since this is, as Daniel indicated, the big issue is the question of whether we want to encourage further development. I mean, may I ask who you are?
Sure, I'm Bill Barron.
And you're,
I am the managing member of Brandenburg Properties of Florida, which is a local company that owns the asset,
okay.
and we ground lease the site to AU Energy.
Okay, so you own the
land.
land, okay, and
I'm the architect for
You're the
AU Energy.
architect. And is there somebody remote that represents the owner? Yeah, the energy folks.
No,
We have somebody from there.
we do not.
Okay, so yeah, to me, you know, I remember the study session in November 2021, and yeah, I understand the issue in terms of the question of the gateways, and you know, I personally have, you know, there's a whole. I got the impression that there's a lot of mixed feelings about, you know, this particular property and whether or not we should encourage additional development there because of the gateway issue. So I don't really have, you know, I pretty much agree with staff in terms of the design issues with regard to the facade, and that it backs, you know, it backs to the brick issue and backing to the intersection in general. So I don't really have any questions in terms of the layout. I had expressed during the study session a concern about the addition of a drive-in car wash on top of a convenience store, mostly because of the traffic issue. And I think that'll be brought up in the planning commission, so it's not something we need to talk about here. So the big issue in terms of site and architectural design is the question of whether or not this is what we want. You know, from a general plan perspective, we look out 20 or 30 years. And so the question remains whether or not the city wants to encourage the continuation and expansion of a station with a convenience store and a car wash. So at that location, because it is considered one of the major gateways. It's not just a gateway, you know, it's like, I mean, we got a lot of gateway spots. And I'm not convinced that, you know, we're gonna do we're gonna do something specific in every gateway spot over the next 20 years, because some of them are on the expressway and some of them on the south border, and there's already existing development there. So I think one of the reasons this is controversial is because it happens to be that particular, one of the gateways that is probably most significant, with at the Hamilton exit. So I think from our perspective, I don't from an architectural site design perspective, I don't, other than what the staff has already talked about, I don't have anything to add. And I think that when the commission meets on this, there will be more discussion on this subject matter. And of course, we're a advisory body on this thing, right? I mean, this will ultimately go to the city council.
No, actually, no. This will rest with the planning commission unless there is an appeal.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Let me just check to see if I have any questions that I wrote down. Not really. I mean, there's do we know if there's been a traffic study done with regards to implementing a convenience store with a car wash at that corner?
If I recall, a traffic study was not required for this, but I'll double check. Okay. That was quite some time ago.
Let's see. I really don't have anything else at this point. I think you covered it. Yeah.
Okay.
So unless we have some input, we can now take input from any of the applicants.
Sure. Good evening. Do you have my presentation by any chance or?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 second. Two keyboards.
So basically the gas station, the current Shell gas station is 4 years old, built in 1983. And this site gonna continue to operate as a gas station for the next 20 years. I appreciate the general plan policy for the development of this corner, but this gas station gonna exist for the next 20 years for many reasons. Shell is part of the ownership of the gas station, and they required the sale of the gasoline for the next 20 years on this site. And the next thing, the gas station owner just signed a long lease with the property owner. And the gas station site basically can offer hydrogen and CNG, a different kind of okay, so all right, great, thank you. Okay, so this is basically the site plan of the as-built gas station. There is two views for the gas station, one northeast and the other one is southwest. The canopy in the middle of the site, basically the front is open, it's an open yard. The fuel tanks is in the back. And like I said, this gas station gonna stay the way it is for the next 20 years if this project didn't move forward. And this gas station also has a potential to offer different type of energy, like hydrogen and CNG in addition to EVs. The gas station is also part of the fabric of the city. They're usually located at the corner, at the intersection corner. They won't work otherwise. And this corner is, very good location for a gas station because it's at the off-ramp and close to the on-ramp for SR-17. Like I said, if this project is not going to be approved, the gas station owner going to be forced to comply with the regulation right now to upgrade the tanks from single wall to double wall. Basically, I'll be upgrading the fuel system, and that's gonna cost approximately $1 million. And that's gonna be over there where the tanks are in the back. And basically, once they spend this money and the tanks at that location, that's it. There is no improvement for the site for the next 20 years until they move on to do something else. So last November, we presented this site plan, which we proposed a convenience of, in the back, and the car wash tunnel at the west side of the building, and the 4 dispenser canopy at the corner. And after discussion with the city, with the planning commission, the decision made was to flip, put the store at the corner to anchor the corner, and that's what we did. We put the canopy in the middle with the 4 dispensers. Basically, the canopy is not going to be anymore visualized from the intersection, like currently today. It will be hidden behind the building, and then the car wash is at the back of the site. This is the landscape plan we proposed. This is the floor plan, and I agree that we created that glass element at the corner, and it is basically to anchor the corner, and there is no exit, there is no entrance to the sales area. Usually, design of gas station, the store has to face the canopy because that's how the interaction of the customers. Now we are open to redesign this floor plan, and we will have an entry from the intersection, directly to the sales area. We can do that. That's not a big deal. So we will have 2 entries. One is facing the canopy for the customer that use the pumps, and then the other one for the pedestrian, the patron, along the sidewalk on the frontage. We can work on that. Regarding the mentioned in the staff report that the brick that we're proposing is not a high quality. I disagree, because that brick you see here, you see in downtown of any of the cities. Basically, this type of brick we proposed, they call it a brick veneer. On the corner, the edge of the building, it has a side return where when you install it, it's going to look like a full brick, but it doesn't have the weight of the full brick. So you will not, it's not a tile. I just want to make sure this, clear. Also, the brick on the wall is a rustic color, and we proposed a couple horizontal solder cores, smooth finish wire cut to bring some scale to the building. This is the building, from the intersection. As you see here, you cannot see the canopy. It doesn't look like a gas station, except the sign. We can do improvement where we can have that tower has a main entry to the sales area, and then eliminate that exit door. And then the question for the city, here is the 2 views. One is what we are proposing for the same gas station that's going to stay for 20 years. And then this is the existing look. Which one, we want to, keep looking at for the next 20 years. Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
The picture on the right, the new look. So that the facade on the corner that you see there that looks like windows.
Yes.
What do you actually see? Are they tinted windows?
We can, yeah. We can use spander glass, where it's going to look like a storefront and a window, but you cannot see inside.
This is a story.
So
Yeah, and then this is done.
Spandrel glass.
It could be spander glass, but if the decision made that we want to have this and access for pedestrian, we can have it glass, that because you're going to be looking at the sales area, and we can do that.
And the portion that faces Hamilton on the right there, that looks like, I don't know, it's like two garage doors. I don't know what they are.
Oh, okay, this is metal siding.
It's what?
It's metal siding just to break, yeah, because we don't want to do a lot of break. So we're kind of breaking the
up.
look, yeah, with horizontal solder course and the metal siding. And some spandrel glass at the top below the canopy. This is actually above the roof, but it look taller building.
So
And is that on the other side too?
Yes, it's actually, if I,
It looks the same kind of.
Uh,
Salmar?
yes, it's, okay.
So this is a parapet wall?
Yes, the top 5 feet is parapet wall, actually. Yeah, that's why the top glass over there, it's not a clear story glass, it's spandrel glass, so you cannot see it. Yeah. Well, the store is basically, the roof is at 15 and the height of the building, the parapet, 20 feet. So it's not a tall building, so.
The only other question that comes to my mind, I mean, look at, I drive by there almost every single day. I'm
Sure.
very familiar with the intersection. I come from downtown to up Selmer and turn right on Hampton. And I've been here for decades, so I'm very familiar with the corner. And I also get off at the exit. So I know that corner really well. And unfortunately, I use Rotten Robbie. Okay, so because they're a little cheaper
Yeah.
than Shell. So, but I've been in there. I've been in the station. So I mean, to me, I mean, I think you make a good. I think this is obviously something you should be presenting to the full commission in terms of the question of the next 20 years.
Yeah,
Okay, I mean, I get that argument that. If you're going to be there for 20 years, then what's the better option, right? So I think that, and convenience stores with gas stations, there's only so much you can do with them, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's only so much you can do with it, and you're taking from our input, something and working with it to provide, from your point of view, something better. In terms of aesthetics, and so I certainly appreciate your position on this, and I think you probably heard from the commission last time is that there's an appreciation for the 40 years of business that they have been there, and that there was 40 years ago that wasn't really a gateway.
yeah, exactly.
And actually, I was around 40 years ago, but I've been around for a long time. And I've been in the area for over 40 years. And I don't, at some point the city decided this was going to be a big box area, actually. Okay. We had 5 big boxes on that street within a block of each other at Fry's and Home Depot and Staples and Kohl's and Bed Bath and Beyond, and 2 of them are gone. And so, whether big box is a good gateway, I don't know. I mean, my take is I have a debate about whether or not putting big boxes at the corner was a good gateway idea, right? And I assumed that the gateway was in the old. Was there a gateway part of the old general plan?
No,
There was no gateway.
yeah, the old general plan was a very old document that was just kind of patched together over a period of 30 years. So 2001 was a significant breaking point for the city with the new general plan.
Okay, but the 2001 had the gateway.
Yes, that's the one we're looking at.
And pretty much everything that's there was existing at the time.
Correct. It all predates the
Yeah,
general plan.
okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. All right. Do you have any more questions or comments?
Can we ask questions from landlord or?
Before we do that, I just
You don't have to answer.
wanted to comment on the traffic. So I was looking at my notes. So this traffic engineer did not require a traffic study because the proposal actually has a negative trip generation due to the fewer number of pumps. So on paper, there's less traffic than the current facility.
But they're not factoring in the convenience store.
The current one has a convenience store, and it's smaller, but,
Yeah,
but that's what the
it's
math.
not a walk-in,
Yeah.
you know, 7-Eleven kind of market, right?
So they don't like the expanded convenience store and the car wash, because car wash generates.
I believe with gas stations, the underlying assumptions is that the car wash is a relatively nominal additive to traffic, because most people are already at the station. They're already getting gas or the convenience store. So there's not really a lot of independent trips just for the car wash.
Actually, I
Well,
actually go to the station on Winchester that has a drive-in gas station, Chevron, on Winchester and Williams. And I actually go independently for the company, but there's only a line of about 2 or 3 cars.
Exactly.
It's that there's never a long line there, as opposed to, you know, the classic car wash.
The full service, you mean?
Full
Yeah, the full
Yeah.
service car wash.
Yeah, that's
So
different.
I wouldn't necessarily, my only concern would be the entry and exit, but you've brought it from Salmar,
Yeah,
goes on Salmar and comes out Hamilton, but you're really talking relatively, I personally think relatively small
Mhm.
amount of business for the car wash.
Mhm.
And like I said, probably a number of them are there for the gas too, so. My bigger concern would be the addition of a full convenience store, which I personally speculatively believe bring more traffic. And then there'll be a question of whether or not it also incurs more potential negative impact on, from a safety point of view. How late is this a 24-hour?
Usually Shell is 24 hours, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything discussed about from a safety point of view? Public safety?
The police department had no issue with the proposal.
And by putting the store against the front, it will be accessible to pedestrian a lot safer than the current condition, because right now, if somebody walking on the street, they need to walk across the yard to go to the store.
So my question is, it seems like this could end up in some kind of like a lose-lose, you know, decision, in the sense that if city wants it to be gateway and you guys say we just signed a 20-year lease, we don't have much of a choice. We have to keep going, even though at the end of 20 years, it may not, continue. Do you so you brought up the tanks?
Yes.
Are the tanks leaking right now, and that's why you have to, or is it
Uh,
regulation?
I don't know, but any
Yeah.
single wall that. Oh, sure, sorry. Any single wall tank, I think by 2024, they have to be double wall, all gas stations. Not this situation, this gas station, everybody.
So they're under the gun, so they.
Yeah, they have to either get this project or, replace the tanks and move on and do investment somewhere else. That's the deal, really. I mean, that's why probably Sunny did not show up today, because, hey, I move on, invest, because that project is gonna cost like $6 million to remodel,
Oh, wow.
to rebuild and stuff like that. That's what I hear nowadays. Yeah, especially with this glass element and stuff like that, that's all gonna be steel, and we have not done this in any gas station. So,
Okay,
May I make a quick comment?
you may.
Thank you. Again, Bill Barron, representing the landowner. I can verify in 2021, we entered into a new lease with AU Energy. How many stores does AU have?
I can't count,
I think it's
300 or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm not sure 300, but I want to say I would represent upwards of 100 stores.
Yeah.
They are partners with Shell Corporate.
Yeah.
They are the Loop brand that you see. In fact, the most recent that I'm familiar with is at Hamilton and Meridian.
Right.
That is a Loop product. And I do wonder, based on what I'm hearing, and I don't, not sure staff has an opinion. It's not necessarily germane to the architectural elements, but of really a binary choice here. relative to their operating business and a mandate by the state to remove single wall tanks and replace them with double wall tanks.
Yeah.
Contrasted with a new project, and whether it's 6 million or 3 million or whatever the numbers is, you have an applicant who is desirous of investing in your community to build something fresh and new in a business that they know well. And how that juxtaposes with the existing condition, and I can tell you a lease that they can't terminate, nor we can terminate, unless either party is in default, of course, which is another matter. You know,
But if you
what,
both
what's,
agree,
is there a opinion on that by staff?
I think we'll reserve that judgment for the planning commission.
so the question comes up is if you both agree that it's advantageous to both sides to not continue through with lease, I think you, by mutual consent, you can terminate the lease, you know, I mean, if it was one-sided, of course, you know.
Well, they have a business to operate, and they intend to continue to operate their business.
Yeah, and then Shell is part of that too, a part of AU Energy, Shell. And Shell, their deal in that AU Energy, that all those gas stations need to sell gas minimum 20 years from today. And it was 30 years from 2010. So,
It was
And then-
25 years from 2021.
yeah, probably you have the number better than I do, but I know it's a long term. I have the same issue in San Rafael downtown on 4th Street. And the gas station is built and it's very nice. You can take a look at it on 4th Street. Planning can basically, the zone does not allow gas station because it's all downtown, has to be, you know, tall buildings and stuff like that. But then, you know, we came with an argument like this and, you know, we said, this is the, you know, the grandee, this is the situation. This gotta continue.
But
They changed and the planning commission gave us a permission to move forward. Sorry.
no. I appreciate, Daniel, what you just answered, and that's fine, but it seems at this point, at this late date, either games are being played or they're not. Either there is a path forward for a project such as this, and staff should be prepared to offer design criteria or further input to the applicant, or there's a belief on the city's part that the operator can't continue to operate their business as it stands today, but for the replacement of the tanks. I mean, if you follow my gist, I mean, I'm not interested here as a supporter of the project to be jerked around. This process has gone on quite a long time, and either the city has a right to stop their business as it sits today in its current architectural form and stop them from replacing their 2 tanks or 4 tanks, whatever the number is.
So I would just say on the tank question, the city would not have the ability to preclude reconstruction of the tanks. That's something that they would be, they would have a ministerial right to apply for a permit to do that without any public review.
Because it's a state requirement.
I mean, I think the question is whether or not the city, you know, and, you know, I don't know, I have more to think about before this comes up in front of the commission. But I think what it really comes down to is whether this city wants to discourage the upgrade development, independent of whether, if you put the tanks in, you got the existing development that's you have rights to continue to run it there. Okay, I don't think that's in question, and whatever improvements you need to do with the existing facility. The question is whether or not the city wants to encourage or discourage an upgrade in this, because what we're looking at, we've been last year and a half, we've been hashing out this housing element, and building higher density housing in places, and talking about the fries. And there's an argument for both sides on this in terms of, well, there's going to be more housing there. So it's like, well, you could argue that it makes sense to have it there, right? They have a service. So the fact is that people are looking at that intersection. There's an apartment complex across the way that's adding on. There's the old restaurant space that used to be there, that something's gonna go there. There's quite talk about some of the Coles property. There's the Fry's property. There's potentially someday the Kate Staples property. There's another property right next door, which I had heard that it was gonna be a hotel, but I don't know where that went. And so that whole area, and then down Hamilton a little bit, right? So that whole area is being looked at as a specific plan area for higher density housing to meet our RENA requirements and all that stuff, okay? So that's why it has
Totally
much-
understand all of that.
so much focus on, right? So I'm conflicted personally on this question myself. I don't know what the other 6 commissioners are going to think, okay? So that's why we're here.
Yep.
And that's why you're going to show up next month, I assume, for the planning commission. So it's good that we got more information and we're, we're just 2 out of the 7. So
Well, again, if I'm out of line, let me know. I'm just making a comment.
that's fine.
And
I'm a layman. You know, we're all pretty much, the commissioners are all laymen here, so.
I'm just curious that if in a fact-based world, we're dealing with a 25-year lease from 2021 that has 2 options. One, the existing condition on the left side that presumably then doesn't encourage, or 2, the same period of time with something that might be deemed more aesthetic. Same time frames, no difference. Encouragement or no encouragement, if that's sort of the binary frame, I can see the conundrum of encouragement being signaled. But okay.
Yeah.
But then do you want to live with what's there?
Yeah, but my.
I'm not trying to be argumentative.
No, that's
Take it out
okay.
debate.
No, I'm happy to have a debate. So, yeah, and it came out in the previous study session, okay? There were some, I don't think I brought it up, but the question always is really a binary decision because, leases can be broken, okay? So, it's really not a binary from some people's perspective. I'm not an expert businessman on that kind of stuff myself, but it was brought up in the last meeting. It's like, well, it's a lease, but leases are not always absolute on paper forever. Okay, that things can change. So you may get that from some member of the commission to say, well, it's really not a binary thing. It's like, well, things can happen. Okay.
Yeah, and if I can chime in, I'm actually of the same opinion as my colleague in the sense that I don't see it as binary, to be honest with you, as much either, because if I'm put into a situation as to, do you want to use your left arm or right arm? By binary decision, and I don't want to lose either one, and so if that's the game, I don't want to play that game, So, one thing that I like to put a bug in your ears is that if there could be a compromise, you can count me as one of the people who would support a compromise. So instead of 0 or 20 years, can we work something on 5 years, maybe 10 years, where it makes sense for the business owner to stay there, but then after 10 years, they know that, things have to change in that corner. But if we're going to frame it in a binary, to be honest with you, neither of those choices, seem to favor Campbell. The development makes it better, yes, but probably not to a point where Campbell will say, I want to commit another 20 years to that,
And I would say, you could make the binary argument to the full commission, and you may get 4 commissioners that buy into it. I couldn't speculate on that. So you may get commissioners that say, yeah, I see what you're saying, and I buy into that. And that may be
you may very well have an applicant that's prepared to make the smaller investment and keep it the way it is.
Right, but, I
I
mean,
mean,
then
it's all,
they have their choice.
I'm not the decision maker. Right.
Okay, well, I think
Okay.
we should probably wrap
We
up.
good?
Yeah, appreciate the time.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the, making the presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, we're scheduled for 1 month from now, I believe, the May